Hello and welcome. It's a good day to be on the farm. My name is Chuck and this is Erlengrat Flour Mill episode 17. As we finished episode 16, we just returned to the harvester after harvesting all three of these fields. It's been a very busy July. We dropped our header off on this header trailer. Man, that is a messy looking New Holland header. But we did a great job and we were able to, and I'm most proud of this, if you can't tell, fill our tipper to 99% full of barley, which we can use to feed to our chickens throughout the next year. So our chickens got fed to 9,000 liters in their bin over there, and we have about the maximum. 99% is real good to last us, so hopefully we won't have to buy chicken feed before we get another harvest off of one of these three fields. So in this episode, we're just going to clean up from the massive ridiculousness that was last episode, put some things away, and then switch to the next month where we can start hopefully selling some of that silage and getting a better price for our straw bales and maybe our bread. So first thing we're going to do is clean off this New Holland header. It was used. It wasn't on a matching harvester, but it did its job like a champ. Couldn't be more proud of it. And again, we're saving up for $265,000 to buy the New Holland harvester that goes with this used header that we bought. You know what, Zetter? You're going to get clean too. I'm in a good mood. I'm cleaning all my equipment. So like I said, I couldn't be happier with how the harvest went. It took us from 6 in the morning till 7 p.m. to do it. That's what you get when you try to harvest three fields in the same day. And again, I talked about the risk last episode, but it's not wise to stack our harvest all in the same day because weather could get in the way, and if we're fighting rain or something like that, we're going to lose some yield. And I don't want to slow the time down any more than times 5, because I think that's just too long. Times 5 gives us about an hour-long days already, hour-long IRL time for a full day in Farm Sim. So I don't really want to slow that down just to try to get things done. That just kind of feels cheaty to me. So we're doing our best to make it work, but we're going to diversify this next time around. So that is cleaned off and washed off. We did unload all of our eggs, but it looks like another pallet is forming, which is fine. And again, this is at real close to 9,000 liters, 8,925, because the chickens have eaten a little bit. This thing is at 99%, or 18,482 liters. 18.5 is what is max. So we were literally 18 liters off of being 100%. So that's great. We did also load up all of our bread. So there's no bread out there, but we did move 9,000 liters of flour over here, so we'll have some bread tomorrow. And then we got 3 fields full of straw to work on. Our McCormick is out there with the baler, but we're not going to worry about that for now because, again, we'll let that sit out there overnight and we will just see how far we can get. So let's take our little four-wheeler out for a spin as we sort of wrap up the rest of this. To end our successful harvest, sleep till the next day, check prices for some things, and then we're going to bail like no tomorrow. Now the last 3 episodes, because they were all harvest episodes and we were very busy, didn't involve a lot of editing, so they pretty much were just me talking and working and talking and working. So we're going to get back to some edited videos. Come on, trigger the door. Here in the future, hopefully in this episode, because I have a lot of baling to do. It sounds different when you ride on the gravel. That's pretty cool. And that's our asphalt. That sounds different too. Alright, so here's all of our silage. Most of it is turning into silage now, but we did have some that were still at like 95%, 98%. I just wanted to wait till the next day. Plus silage is at also an all-time low price right now. So we're kind of stuck up against that bale limit. Nothing we can really do about that. But we are going to sell those silage bales in August because they are going to be available to do so. I like to leave lights on for myself. So August will be us baling. I am going to time lapse quite a bit of that because baling. And then we'll also sell some silage bales to get some money as well once we hit that bale limit. And then we're going to try to save those straw bales until the price is better. So go ahead and we will sleep a well-deserved rest until August. And why this is going, I just want to tell you guys thanks for checking us out. Thanks for sticking with us. I should have paid off some of that loan. We just paid a lot of interest for no reason because we had $112,000 sitting in the bank. Oh well. I appreciate you guys sticking with this series all the way to episode 17. I never thought I would have made it this far, so thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for tuning in week after week and following the series. I love hearing from you guys, so if you haven't yet, please stop by in the comments and say hello and tell me what you like about the series or what you don't like or what you'd like to see next. Any and all feedback would be great. Alright, so it is August now. It is 8:03 a.m. What a beautiful morning here in the Swiss Alps. I mean, sometimes I like to just turn around and look at this view. Mountains everywhere, trees, hills. Yeah, it is a nice looking map, that is for sure. Look at that sunrise coming over there, more mountains on that end, and that train bridge is great looking. Alright, let's check some prices. We have silage 277, 276. Low is 270. I believe it was 271 when we checked the last episode. So August is bouncing off the low. If we could make it till September, great, but we're not going to, so that's fine. 277 will be great. We will hold out as long as we can today and hope to get at least 280 for those silage bales. I would take 280. That's fine. Straw, same deal. Low is this month in August. We do not want to sell straw bales today if we can. Animal dealer is the only place it takes them, and they're at 61. The low is 60. They're going to jump up quite a bit in September, October, November, and a little bit in December. So anything above 80 would be amazing. I would take 77, 78, 79. So our goal is to turn all these silage bales over, get as close to that 200 bale limit as we can, sell as much silage as we need to, and dump as much straw over here as we possibly can to get us through to the end of the year. Alright guys, let me jump over here to our baler. Our number one priority for today is baling, so that's what we're going to start with. Let's turn that. Oops, I turned on my tractor and turned off my tractor. Baler is this one. Turn on that baler. The pickup is already down, and we're going to turn on the auto drop, I believe. So let's just see if it drops this next one. You can tell me that I missed the auto drop here in a second. In case I did, I've got my help menu off because it just looks better without that giant menu in the upper left hand corner, but sometimes that makes me miss my controls. Alright, so we're hoping for an auto drop. Bang, auto drop. Love it. Alright. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the video here. You guys can watch a time lapse of me baling and baling and baling coming up. I'll check in with you guys in a little bit. Thanks for watching. And we're back. Thanks for hanging in there through that time lapse. I severely underestimated the length of time it might take me to bale all 3 of these fields. So as I was baling half of this field, 14, our largest one, I kind of thought, I do want to diversify the crops. I do want to diversify kind of what seasons we're harvesting in, because hopefully by the next harvest we will have been able to afford the harvester rather than just renting it, because I hate that we've wasted $30,000 and basically leasing a harvester. It was necessary and we didn't have the cash, but regardless, I want to own the harvester next time, which will allow us to harvest at different seasons, so we're not doing 3 episodes straight of harvesting and then 3 episodes straight of baling and then 3 episodes straight of plowing. I'd like to rotate the crops a little bit better than that. So I think what we're going to do is basically get all the bales off this field and then start prepping this field for planting. And then we will basically take a break from baling to do some field work, and then once we move on to the next field, we'll start over at the beginning with the baling and the field work and the planting, and then just kind of leapfrog our fields that way. I think that'll be better content-wise for you guys, so you're not just stuck watching the same thing all the time, and it'll be better to just sort of break up what we're doing here on the farm, and it will help us diversify our crops a little bit as well. So given that it's August and it's only 9:30 in the morning. Oops, I'm missing a whole section here. Let's back up and grab that. We're going to take a look at the calendar here in a second and decide what crops we want to plant in August while it's dumping that bale off. So where do we get that menu? Or look at our calendar. So in August we could start planting canola, but now wheat and barley kind of need to be our mainstay for now as we're keeping the flour mill going. I do eventually want to do sugar beets at some point in time, just to get those for processing the sugar. Well, I missed a whole section there. While we do want to get processed sugar eventually for our bakery, I don't think that's something we're going to do necessarily right away. And then to get the strawberries or the other produce going that we would also need for the bakery, well, we only need the strawberries for the bakery, let me be clear, but we can also make lettuce and tomatoes from a greenhouse. I think we should put a greenhouse on here as well. So we're going to start prepping the field. I don't think we're ready for canola, honestly. I don't think that would go with anything that we're doing or any short-term plans that we have for the farm. It would be just a cash crop, basically, something we'd only be planting just to sell straight off the field, and without a silo. That would either mean buying an extra tipper to house that canola in, or selling it at harvest time, which is never the best price. So I think we keep on with what we're doing with the wheat and barley on the first 2 fields that we get planted, and we'll hopefully get both of those planted in by October. So this one and one other field, and then the 3rd field we can prep for the spring, and just kind of have a 3rd crop on there. And then I think it's time to get a greenhouse going, or maybe 2. And those are pretty simple. You just buy them, throw them down, and then you have to water them. So we'll need to get some sort of water tank we can pull behind one of our tractors, and then we'll also need to find a water supply on the map somewhere. And if you put a well on your farm, it literally charges you for the water, which is kind of weird. It's like running city water and paying for that, except for it's a well, which if you dig a well, then that's free water. So the kind of way to get around that in Farm Sim is to find a lake or a river of some sort, and then just kind of pull your water for free from there. So I'm going to water all my greenhouse crops with river water if we can find a way to get down to the river over here safely. Sometimes it's not safe, and you lose something in there that you have to reset back to the shop and go pick it up again. Or if you get your tractor too far into the water, the tractor will stall out, and then you'll have to reset that to the shop and drive it back from there. And I don't know that it actually causes any damage, but it just doesn't work to drive in water, which makes sense. So anyway, a greenhouse excuse me, is probably the next thing we'll do after we start getting some field work done. And all of our margins are ready to be mowed. And we can sell that silage at some point in time. I don't know if that'll be in today's episode or in the next one. So you'll just have to kind of hang out there and see what we decide to do. But I think that is the plan I'm going with now until I change it 5 minutes from now or next episode. But let me know in the comments below what you want to see planted on this field. We just did barley, so it would make sense to maybe rotate to wheat, but it's going to have to be wheat or barley because we need another crop that produces flour that we can plant in September or October. If you guys really want to see canola, let me know that too. But that has to be planted this month, so I don't know that that will happen. Just given that we're already working this field, we would have to turn around and probably plant this one with canola because I don't think we'd have time to get all the bales off another field and then plant a smaller field of canola. So if you vote for canola, you'll probably get outvoted just by the calendar. But wheat or barley on this field, let me know. And then I guess also let me know if you want to see the same crop, so like 2 fields of wheat, 2 fields of barley, or if you want to do a wheat and a barley, and which field do you want to see that on. Do you want me to go to 15 next or 16 next after we're done with 14? So I guess those are my main questions for you, the viewer, to let me know how you want the remainder of this kind of year. Is it still year 2? I think, yeah, year 2 harvest, or excuse me, year 2. There's a word I'm looking for. Let me just, all right, we're going to go back to our stats tab real quick. And yeah, we have made 31 bales since the time lapse. 326 bales total on this save. And yeah, years played 2. So yeah, it is year 2. So, yes, year 2. What do you want to see for the rest of year 2? I think that's what I was trying to say. Oh, and the other thing that we had talked about briefly, and I know it was brief, so, but is cows. At some point in time, we're going to need milk and butter for the bakery. Or excuse me, we're going to need milk to make butter and, gosh, my words are not working for me this morning. All right, what do we need for let's go up here to our production. For a cake, we need flour, which we have, sugar, which we can make from sugar beets or sugar cane, eggs we have, it's milk and, yeah, it was milk and butter, I got it right, milk and butter from cows, and strawberries from the greenhouses. So greenhouse next, I'm pretty sure. Then we'll have 3 of the ingredients. Milk and butter, easy enough for us to start with cows and get that going. So that'll be kind of the next step in this process. And the thing with cows is they are cheaper if you buy them young, but they don't produce for a while. So if we wanted to be making milk and butter in year 3, we should probably buy those cows in year 2 so they can grow up. Or we can buy more expensive cows that are producing. Basically, we can buy them at 0 months, so calves, and then they don't produce milk until 12 months, so you literally have to have them for a year, but they're way cheaper, but you do have to feed them. Or you can buy 12-month-old cows that are already ready to produce milk, but those are more expensive. Or you can buy 18-month-old cows who are ready to reproduce, and then they make milk, but they also will I think every 5 months, every 5 or 6 months, they can produce baby cows or calves. So that is an option too. Maybe we get the production of that stuff going, because the greenhouse for the strawberries will be very easy. We build it, we dump water in it, next month we'll have strawberries. So that's not one where we need to really get ahead of it. It would give us something extra to sell, but as it is, we only have the one low loader and then the one auto load trailer, and the auto load trailer is pretty much got to be used for eggs and flour at this point. So our bread is already going to be on the low loader. Not that we can't sell bread and produce on the same trailer, we can. It just means we have to get a little more creative in our stacking, which is fine. But I think maybe getting those cows going sooner versus later would be beneficial. Now, the problem is the real estate. We don't have a giant open area on which to build a little cow pasture, a little cow building. Basically, there's 3 types of cow pens you can get. We don't want the smallest one, because the smallest one requires us to water the cows as well. Both of the other 2 buildings that we build will have plumbing built in, and so you don't have to spend time carting water for them as well. You just have to give them straw for bedding, and then you have to give them grass for 40% efficiency, or hay for 80% efficiency, or TMR for 100% efficiency. Now, we don't really need 100% efficiency if we buy the calves, because they're growing up but they're not producing anything, so 80% is great. So in that case, you just feed them hay. But if you want to get that 100% efficiency, start feeding them TMR, which is made of hay and silage and straw in a certain ratio, which I did make a video about, so check that out if you haven't yet. Anyway, we happen to have silage bales, we happen to have straw bales now. We're looking at a field full of them. Hay bales we don't have. That would require us to get a tedder as well. But that's easy enough. We could make hay out of all of this margin grass rather than making silage, without too terribly much work. We just have to get a tedder, which we can get a pretty narrow one because these areas aren't that wide. But then we'd have to windrow it too. So that's kind of the thing. Like, we'll spread it. We can mow in a wide swath with our mower to spread it out. And we have to ted it by flipping it over to turn it to hay and let it dry out. Then we have to put it back in a row to pick it up with the baler. So that becomes a whole thing. Or the other option is literally you just get a forage wagon. No, that doesn't make sense. If we're going to mix TMR for our cows, and we're using silage bales and straw bales, we wouldn't want to mix from a forage wagon, because then the ratios get really weird, because you have to get like a bucket for your front loader and you have to scoop it in and you just pile on the ground. So yeah, no, we've got bales of straw, we've got bales of silage. It would just make sense to make bales of hay. But that's 2 extra passes we'd have to make with the mowing. One for the tedder and one for the windrowing. So I guess that would mean 2 extra pieces of equipment we have to buy. So that's the problem with cows. You got to pay for the cow shed. You got to pay for the cows, or the baby calves. You got to pay for the mixing wagon to mix the TMR, although that wouldn't be an immediate need if we're going to do hay first. Actually, it would, because you also have to shred the straw. See, this is where it becomes a problem. The mixing wagon that you can use to mix their food, you can also use to shred your straw bales to give them bedding. Or you can buy a bale shredder, but I don't really want to buy a third piece of equipment we don't need if we're going to get a mixing wagon eventually. Now, if we went the forage wagon route, where we just made hay on the margins of our fields, and we just basically mowed in the front. No, we couldn't pick it up right away because it's to be grass. So we basically ted it, and then we'd have to windrow it anyway to pick it up in the mixing wagon, or we'd have to make 3 times as many passes, which nobody wants to do. So yeah, can't get around it. We need a windrower to put it in a row to pick up. We need a tedder to make it hay. There's no point in, like, the nice thing is this straw that's on the field right now is already shredded. So if we weren't ready to buy the mixing wagon yet, because we were just going to feed them hay, we could actually just pick up some of these straw swaths in a forage wagon and keep it in the forage wagon already shredded, and then it's easy to dump into the cow pasture. But we don't need a forage wagon and a windrower. We kind of do one or the other, and again, if we're going to make the food eventually in a mixing wagon, we might as well use that to shred the straw bales as well, which means, yeah, so to get the cows off the ground, now look at me talking and driving right over my straw, back up. Also, side note, sorry, I know I'm all over the place right now, but this is withered barley. So that's why we had to rush so much in July to get everything off the field, because again, this field was going to wither, as was our other one over here. But this one was going to wither and turn to this gray stuff, and then all you can do is plow that under, or mulch it, I think, but I ended up just plowing it under. So we didn't want to make the mistake of not getting our stuff off the ground or harvested in the right season, because withering crops is bad. All right, what was I talking about? Oh, cows and all the things. So yeah, we would need a tedder for hay, a windrower to pick it up, bale it, then we'd store the bales wherever we store our bales, probably over on that pad right now. Eventually, if we had hay, we'd have to keep it dry, because you don't want your hay just sitting out in the rain. And again, we did put those straw bales under the awning of our shed, so we'd probably put the hay bales under that and call that good to keep them dry, you know, for role play purposes, but still. And then we would need the mixing wagon. So I think the first step in all that, and then you have to pay for the cows. So that's like 5 expenses immediately. And the cows are cheaper if you get a transport wagon to cart them from the animal dealer back and forth. Otherwise you have to pay basically shipping on the calves when they show up, and then when you sell them later. So usually I like to have an animal transport as well, but sometimes when I start, I'll just order, 40 cows at once, just eat the shipping costs the first time around, and then if we want to do more later, then that's when I'll break out and use the wagon to either buy an extra load or sell an extra load, because the wagon that I normally use only holds 6 cows at a time, so it's a lot of trips, which is fine, but again, not the best content. Like, I certainly will show you guys 1 or 2 trips to the animal dealer, but if we wanted to get 42 cows in our 45 cow pasture, which I think is the one we would probably buy, holds 45 cows. That's 7 trips back to the animal dealer, and maybe you guys want to see that. Let me know, because obviously we're not buying cows today. But would you watch 7 trips to the animal dealer just so I could save on shipping? I need like an Amazon Prime for cows. Pay a yearly fee, and my cows are free. So, there might be something to that. I mean, I guess that's what buying the trailer is. You're paying your fee to save on the shipping. Or we could just lease it. Lease a trailer. That would probably only be $1,000. I think it's either 100 or 200 per cow. No, I think it's, so the calves, I can't show you until we buy the cow pasture. So that's the problem with this today. I can't actually show you what we would be doing without actually purchasing it. So maybe when we finish these last 2 rows of straw, we'll end off the episode by me just trying to figure out where we would put a cow pasture. and if we can even afford it. We're getting close. Obviously, if we sold some silage bales, that would get us closer, but we still have the loan, guys. You can't forget about the loan. We're paying interest every night for that money that we borrowed to buy this field, which is great. I'm glad we got this field. That's going to keep our flour mill going for a lot longer. But that means we our third option is we don't do any of this, and we just use all the profits from the straw bales and all the profits from selling bread and eggs and whatever else to pay off the loan so that we stop hemorrhaging money and interest payments on the land, which is, probably the fiscally responsible way to do it, but maybe not the way that is as fun. Because let's be honest, working more fields or having more things to do on the farm, like managing cows or managing produce from a greenhouse, is just more fun. Oh, and the other thing I was going to talk about is I was watching some other YouTuber who does these farming videos, and someone made a comment on his video that basically a flour mill can support, I think he said, the commenter said a flour mill can support 4 bakeries. So we're going to have enough flour if the flour mill got full, which it's not going to just from 3 fields, but that would support extra bakeries if you want all that bread produced in the same year that you make it. So as we carry this series forward, eventually if we keep dumping more and more fields of grain into our flour mill, we're going to have so much flour that we have to get rid of some of it, and then you're selling it at market price, which I think is still double what you get for just the grain. So let's just say 1,000 liters of grain gets us $1,000. Well, 1,000 liters of flour then would get us $2,000, but then 1,000 liters of bread would get us more than that, but not double again. So something we could consider as well, if we don't want to go cows for milk and butter and produce just to get strawberries, because we apparently don't care about cakes at that point, then we could actually just build a second bakery for bread, and then we'd obviously make twice as much bread, and that would help us burn through the flour quicker. So that's an interesting idea if we're literally just going to make the flour mill our business model. But I don't know, is that too boring? Is that too repetitive? We just plant wheat and barley every year, and maybe some oats on the side, and then we just pump out flour, and then we just have our bakeries all lined up, and we fill up our bakeries with that flour, and then we come around, pick up all the bread, and sell it. And that's all we do. And then we mow a little bit. I think that is probably less interesting of a farm. We want multiple streams of income is kind of my goal. Diversify. So I think that's obviously more like what we'd want to do, which is why I thought the cakes would be we got the flour mill as our original idea. Then we're like, well, let's take that flour mill to the next step. Let's get this bakery. So we got a bakery, and we're making bread. Hey, great. Hey, guess what? The bakery can also make cakes. So for no extra cost, well, that's not true because of all the things I just talked about regarding cows, but we didn't have to build an extra production facility. We can take advantage of what we're already doing with the bakery and the bread to start making cakes by just adding in some extra things to diversify. So that makes sense to me. As hey, let's expand the farm. What business model are we going to go for? Let's try to get the most out of the production facilities that we already own. Let's diversify in ways that support that. That to me sounds like a sound business plan. But we will see. All right, and this should be our last row off of here, and it is going to let me grab it. All right, I was really worried we were going to. I'm going to shut that off and pick up that pickup. I was really worried. At let's just drop this here for now, just to get it off the field. That we might hit our 200 bale limit. So how many bales did we make? We had, I think, 6 bales made from episode 16. And we made... Where is my stats? Here it is. We made 60 bales. So we made 66 bales of straw. Is that right? 66 bales off of field 14. That is insane, guys. That is a lot of bales. And we still have 2 other fields to do. I mean, I guess we'll get out the cart and pick them up here at next episode for sure. But, yeah, that's interesting. So let's just take a quick look at placement ideas so we can kind of wrap up this episode. Next episode will either be mowing, plowing, mowing and plowing, tedding if we decide to do cows, selling some silage bales for some cash, all of those things. So, and we're going to need this cart anyway. So let's grab this cart and get it out of the way here. Basically, our 2 options are between our silage bales and our bakery here, or between our bakery and our chickens here. As probably the 2 places we would put a cow pasture. I don't think we can fit it back in this corner. So let's get out and do a little bit of walk-in here and see if we even think we could fit it here. Like, this is the biggest, flattest area we have. It would be a little tight getting in here to dump off the grain, but we could maybe make it work. So let's go into our construction menu and let's check the deals for today just to see. Horse trailer. I was like, oh, hey, look at this. All this talk about animals. We got a horse trailer, but no, that can't hold the cows. Closs pickup for a forage wagon. A 374 horsepower case with 24 months on it. Let's see. $21,000, $30,000, or 0. So yeah, 374. That's interesting. That would be a powerhouse tractor for us to have, but we don't really need. We don't need it, and our Zetter's doing fine. Now this is really interesting. Is this a front loader? No, this is a wheel loader. This we could use to pick up a lot of things and load some things instead of having to use the front loader on our McCormick all the time. What, a Schaefer 9660 T2. Let's actually come up here under wheel loaders. No. Is that considered a front loader? No, that's not it. Is it a telehandler? It is a telehandler. There you go. This one, right? 46T. No, that's not it either. What is it? What is it, guys? 9660 T2. Oh, it is. It's the most expensive telehandler that they have. Well, if we wanted a telehandler, honestly, we could get a little one brand new for $50,000. This one, $130,000, so it's a good deal. And R3 to look at combinations, so that would get us a bale fork, a bucket, a manure fork, and a pallet fork. So we'd probably get the pallet forks and the bale forks for those. So that'd be another 2,900. That's tempting. Well, let's think about that while we're looking at our construction. Guys, I'm about to spend a bunch of money on things that we don't need yet, so talk me down, please. I'm going to bankrupt our farm buying telehandlers and things that we're not actually ready for. So, yeah, this cow pasture here is only 75,000. It can only hold 15 cows, and you got to water them. See, it's got the little water droplets on the right-hand side. It can take straw, hay, grass, and water. These can just take straw, hay, and grass. Or maybe that's TMR. Yeah, TMR, straw, grass, and water, TMR, so on and so forth. This is the one we'd probably get. Holds 45. 80 is the next one up, but that's literally $500,000, so there's no way. This one is 254,000, so it would mean another loan. And it would kind of be like, does that even fit? I mean, technically, yes, if we moved our trailer there and we got right up next to this. No, it doesn't fit, because look, that it's got this pasture that sits out on the side that would encompass where our chickens currently are, or encompass our bakery, which neither of those would work, so I guess it wouldn't fit here. So let's see, where else on our land could we even put this thing? I mean, if we got rid of that silage spot, which I guess doesn't technically matter, we can put our silage anywhere. We could run the pasture up the hill. That goes all the way up to the road, so we'd maybe have to back it up like this. So then we're literally covering our road. See, this is the problem. Where are we going to put this thing? All of this is like even right up next to the field. That still goes up onto the road. Oh, nope, on this corner of the field maybe. I think right here is technically still part of our land, because our field ends right there. I think the cow pasture would have to go like literally right up to the field. We'll probably even lose just a tiny little bit of field there. But drop this thing off here, let that pasture run up to the corner there. Okay, let's just, for fun, let's just look at this little pasture. So this, way cheaper. And again, we don't need a ton of cows yet. So we could literally drop this up here. For 75,000, which we could actually almost afford. We'd want to mow this grass first too, just to get the hay off of there. I mean, technically we can even run this all the way up to the field there. So that overlaps with the road, but we could put it all the way up here. Now, when we have crops in, it would make it really hard to water this thing this close to the field. So it'd probably make sense to come down here and put it as far back as we could to give us some room to work. I mean, I think here would be the best spot for this. And we just throw cows down on this corner of field 16. We would have to water them, but we were going to maybe get a greenhouse anyway, so the water transport would be another expense, but wouldn't be terrible. Or what does this look like down here? Like, can we even fit this in here? So collides with another object. So the trailer, well, I think our drop-off point for our bakery is in the way. Or we could put it That's the other thing is literally, oh, we can't even do it with all this straw on the fields. So you can literally throw them right in the middle of a field too and just lose that area. So our third and less exciting option, like luckily our field's completely flat, so that's just 75,000. We just drop this right off the road, like if we didn't have these bales in the way. We like literally just drop it right here, well probably right here, just lose the corner of this field. So we're losing a little bit of crop space, but not tons of crop space. And we just do something like this. And that just gets us, like, the drop-offs are right on the road, so we never have to drive into our crops to do it. And we just, literally make this part of that field. So that is the super secret option number 3, which I don't like at all because we paid a lot of money for these fields. So anyway, there are our options for you guys to think about. I talked a lot longer than I thought I was going to, so we're going to have to cut the episode here. But that's okay. Good content for you guys. So we'll go ahead and end the episode here. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more like this, go ahead and subscribe. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. And let me know what you want me to do in the comments, and we'll see what happens on the next episode. All right, take care. Bye-bye.